Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Prime Minister, Presidents, CEOs, ladies and gentlemen, respected participants. This is one of the places where we have an adjective green, but we can also feel safe knowing that you are not looking at us with a hostile glance. Many gatherings and meetings when we speak about the environment, ecology, the second part of the half of the room doesn't wish us well, or at least we have different approaches. And on that side, there's a lot of aggression, lack of peace, and I'm very pleased that we can speak openly and positively about climate, about the environment. We have an unusual ministry where we join the competencies of the environment and energy transformation. Climate transformation for us is an important challenge. We've combined this in one place so that there are no interministerial conflicts which exist. I'm an untypical Minister of Climate and the Environment, and I perceive this at international gatherings. Also in the Baltic states recently we had a gathering, and there the Ministry of Climate and the Environment explained how those investments which in that state are being developed are harmful, including RASs, because they destroy the environment. As you know, where there are the Greens ruling in the coalitions, we have that conflict. Also, Steffi Lemke, the Minister of the Environment in Germany, states that any investments in the economy, hydro, including energy, disturb and distort the ecosystem, that the river is a wild river, especially our Oder River. It's definitely not a waterway and definitely not a source of energy. So these internal conflicts somewhere exists within the government. We speak with one voice, the voice of common sense. And if we look at the triangle, which is a dilemma for many years, the triangle of security, energy security, and on the other corner of that triangle we have a society and the economy, and the third is decarbonization and the challenges of transformation. This is which we are managing this model in a sustainable manner, and we believe that society, the economy, and the environment are key, and all other processes should be subordinate to those basic values. From some interesting things, I'm participating in environmental councils, all the environmental councils, and in the transport section, I don't differentiate frequently whether I'm at an environmental or an energy council. Not because I participate in them, but because in both the same is being discussed. All the time there are discussions about decarbonization, the need of transformation at all costs. I haven't heard ever, except for the Polish position, that there was the word energy security. Supposedly there are some EU documents about EU security. I will try to find them out, but they were never the subject of deliberations. I never remember that there were debates on that, whether they were formal councils or not formal. Of course, the war has caused the state to look for in a heated manner some solutions. Of course, society is more important from decarbonization and transformation. For many, we would be considered an unpopular country and state, and our views were not or are not understood. Our approach about the need for de-Russification was an approach which spoke about mainly about energy security. And the majority of international gatherings which we participate, we are right. And of course we would not want to be right. We would not want the war to be raging and to not have this Gazprom war, pre-war and currently. Europe wouldn't have to bitterly have to learn what is the most important thing. And the question is, will this war and the question of security stay with us forever. Of course, deeply, I hope that energy security in Europe will be a priority, but we're hearing that most European countries want to make energy ambitions more stronger. If we have RASs or Russian gas, most countries are saying that RASs are the way to go, but the concern that was expressed also earlier by the minister, our concern is that we do not fall into the trap of at all costs, because frequently that is the statement. If we are talking about nitrogen, Poland is one of in public transport, this is one of the factors. And of course, hydrogen is very important, but we do not want to fall into the trap. For some time, hydrogen was concerned as an export project and an import of hydrogen to Europe, that we not fall into the next dependency of import from Morocco. And I also spoke to my German colleagues from where the hydrogen will be several days before the war. It was supposed to be from the Ukraine, from Morocco and other states, and not from Russia, because all in that transformation we have to remember, why not wait a few years when we have our own sources of hydrogen? I'm convinced that we can wait. And in these dialogues, frequently there is the concept of a planet that is dying. It is something very unpopular. We do not contradict at all that there is a need for transformation, that there is a need to preserve natural resources, maintaining biodiversity, and we definitely support all those directions. However, we are not able to find a justification for all the dates on that timeline. We have to agree to something. However, I do not understand that we cannot maintain national flexibilities and a certain independence, because the Fit for 55 package currently is somebody has closed several days a group in a room, and that the planet is going to die on whether in 2034, 35, or 55, if we don't introduce EFG at those specific dates, without a deep discussion on how this is going to impact the economy, society, and deep dependencies. We will take up this dialogue, and our energy policy and transformation, contrary to this European policy, is thought through and thoughtful. We're not saying no, we're just saying how and when, and it also is a part of a social agreement, something that disrupts this process of transformation and the social dialogue and democracy, this Fit for 55 package. Why? Because we've agreed with the miners for a specific path of process and moving away from coal in a very long negotiations, and this is Timmermans is saying with package 55, your obligations need to be thought through once again, because we have a fantastic package to propose. Our transformation is a transformation of dialogue. It shows the photovoltaics, the source of renewable energies, and we have almost 18 giga in RASs. The goal set by 2015 by the EU, we achieved. Why? Because we had a 7 giga in photovoltaics. That source of energy, which for society is inexpensive, is our own. And this is an important feeling for us here in Poland. Realistic self-sustainability, these values, and photovoltaics gives social acceptance, and this is the way we want to conduct transformation, with incentives, with dialogue, with social support, with understanding, and also showing the measurable benefits, not because the planet is suffering and we have to solidarily help the planet by 2055, irrespective what kind of impacts economic and social it will bring. One more factor which is important in this area and is a challenge for all of us, for the governments and for the leaders who date definitely is that part of ecological and climate education and the dialogue with the young generation. We know on a day-to-day basis we are touching this problem, especially in families and family gatherings, that even if we have very conservative groups, the next generation of young in those conservative groups are young youth and young people who have an approach which is a result of their opinion of good ideas. They want to be part of a certain group. They want to be green. They want to save the planet. This is an important task for us to speak about wisely about this. A counterbalance to all the youth who are taken by the movements, and so that we speak the same language, the language of fact, and showing these environmental facts, climate facts. We're a little bit amiss of this and short, so every Friday coming to the ministry on Fridays at 11, they would shout under our ministry, and shouting with techno music and moving away from coal by 2030, and other actions which did not help us in our day-to-day work. We have to, of course, find understanding for that and treat it as a task. This is a task for us to undertake a good dialogue. We're not saying no just because no, we don't want the rebellion, but we're missing, on the other hand, there were several interviews with leaders, quote unquote, of ecology, and they were saying that you're putting pressure for the government to move away from coal by 2030. But how do you want to do that? The president answered, I don't know. So frequently these meetings end that way. We would like the government was saying that it can't be done that way because it has its own rational path. So this is the huge undertaking and venture that we work and cooperate with the youth, because if we lose this dialogue, then these mad trends will be unstoppable. So I would like to conclude with that, and also a challenge for you during this conference and post-conference. I believe that today this is one of the most urgent things. Thank you very much, and I wish you all a fruitful conference and deliberations.